Today's lesson is going to be over vertical and horizontal parabolas. Let's start with the vertical parabolas. They are the parabolas that either open up or down, and these are the ones we're most familiar with. The formula is going to be presented in a little different way. So instead of being y equals x squared like we are used to, we're going to use a formula that's x squared equals 4py. And this is the conic application of it, and we'll get to this a little bit this year, but they mean the same thing. If your x term is squared, the parabola opens up or down. If it's positive, it opens up. If it's negative, it opens down. What I have done with this formula right up here is I've just added in some transformations. Just like with any other graph, the parabola can shift to the left or to the right. If it shifts to the left or right, that is a change in the x value or our h parameter. And remember, h is the horizontal shift. If we are seeing shifts in up and down, that shift is k. That's our vertical shift. Notice in this formula, all the signs are negative. So for both h and k, we're subtracting the shift. So really watch those signs so you don't get them backwards. Now, some things I want you to notice that will help on this parabola is we have some real distinct points. Our parabola looks the same as always. Our vertex is still right here. And in this one, the vertex is at 0, 0. But normally, the vertex will be at h, k. And that's pretty standard for the parabolas we've done so far. If h and k, if it looks like our little short formula right there, there is no h and k, there's no shift, so it's 0, 0. The next point we're going to deal with is right up here, and this point is called the focus, and it is inside the the parabola. And what I really want you to see is that the distance from here to here is p units. That's how far we're moving up and down. P units. This is really important. The directrix is this imaginary line down here at the bottom, and it is perpendicular to the axis of symmetry, and it too is p units from the vertex, which means your vertex is smack in the middle. So it's the midpoint between the focus and the directrix. So all we're doing is we're either adding p to something or subtracting p. If you can keep that in mind, it's going to make things a lot simpler. So let's talk about our formulas. Starting off, we know that our vertex is the point hk. If h and k are 0, that's awesome. The next thing we want to look at is the focus. So our focus starts at the vertex, and we've said it's going to move up p units. When we're moving up, we're changing the y value. So the h value will stay the same, but we're going to add p units to the k value. And that's how we get that point. Now the directrix, which is right down here, we're doing just the opposite. We are subtracting p because we're going p units in a negative direction. So for the directrix, our formula is, it is a horizontal line. So we have y equals, and it's crossing at the point, negative p. And that's all there is to the vertical parabola. All right, now we're going to deal with horizontal parabolas. The game stays the same. So our standard definition for this is, instead of our x term being squared, our y term is being squared, and we have y squared equals 4px. So if you look right here, this is what it looks like when we add in our transformations. Again, k is always associated with y, x is always associated with x. Same thing over here in our parabola. We have a vertex, which in this particular one is at 0, 0. We have our focus, which is inside our parentheses. Move that around a little bit. Sorry about that. The focus. Notice the focus is p units away from the vertex. But this parabola is opening up to the right. So some things have changed, like our axis of symmetry is now running horizontally. Let's zoom this back in a little bit. The directrix is an imaginary line that's perpendicular to the axis of symmetry, and again, it is p units away from the vertex. So this vertex is smack in the middle of the focus and the directrix, okay? So, to work with your formula a little bit, we have got, let's clear this out and get some spots. Hold on just a second. Alright, had to clean up the work area there. So, the first thing we want to do, here's our formula. Make sure whatever problem you're working with is in the same format as this formula. Next thing you'll probably want to do is find the vertex. The vertex, as always, will be HK. Your axis of symmetry is running through here. So just so you know, your axis of symmetry, or I'm going to call it your AOS to be shorter, it's a horizontal line, so it's going to be y equals h. Now, to find the focus, again, we're moving to the right from the vertex. So if I'm moving to the right p units, I need to adjust that with my x, or my h variable. And then my y variable is the k, or the shift. The directrix is going in the opposite direction, and it is a vertical line, so it's going to look like x equals, notice the way we're going, so that's why it's x, it's negative p. Okay? Or in this case, it would be, h equals negative p. H, there it goes, minus p. All right, you have all these formulas in your notes. Let me do a practice problem for you real quickly so you have something to watch. Okay, let's do this problem together. X minus 2 squared equals 1/8 times y plus 3 quantity squared. To start with, I want to rearrange it so that it matches our formula. So I'm just going to flip it. So I have negative 1/8 y plus 3 quantity squared equals x minus 2. Now, to make this match my formula, I need to make this negative 1/8 become a 1. So to do that, I can either divide by negative 1/8, or to remove a fraction, I can multiply by the reciprocal. So in this case, I'm going to multiply.
Kyle Cristoforo, will you please come to the front office? Kyle Cristoforo, could you please come to the front office? Thank you.
Sorry about that. I'm going to multiply by negative 1/8. By negative 8. So what that does, when I do negative 8 times this, it makes this become positive 1. So I now have y plus 3 squared, and I'm going to multiply the right side by negative 8. So I get x minus 2. All right, let's talk about what I know. I know that h is 2. I know that k is negative 3. Now I need to know my p-value. And to find this, I know from my formula that 4p equals negative 8. So p equals negative 2. Now once I know that, I'm good to go. So remember these values, 2, -3, and -2. So here they are again. Let's start finding our goodies. The vertex is HK, so that means the vertex will be 2, -3. To find the focus, well, this parabola opened horizontally. So we're going to have to think about, go back to what horizontal. So it's opening this way or this way. So everything is changed. So my focus, the formula says, is P0. So there is my focus. Now, to find my directrix, I'm going to use my formula that said y equals, because we want it to be, I'm sorry, I am not thinking right. Let me back that up. The directrix should be a vertical line, so it is x equals, and it's coming off the h value, so I'm going to have 2 minus 2. And what would that be? So there you go. There's your basic info.